It's football and other F words, and I guess we can't let the soccer boys back in here because they just screwed everything up with their podcast. It is 6:35. We usually start so promptly. We're 6:05 typically.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess Will Bowling, Lucas Panzica doing their soccer podcast. What's it called, Jackson?
NSC Backstage, which I am also the producer of, so I don't know if this is a conflict of interest or if I'm the one who messed up.
Well, I mean, you blamed it on someone else, and you told us that we're only sharing the studio with them, so I don't know. Would you screw up?
I could have screwed something up. We don't know. Oopsie.
Right. Oopsie. So if you want to go listen to a bunch of cicadas getting murdered, you can listen to our first attempt at going live.
9 seconds.
Yeah. It is like cicada disco, apparently. But now we're all good to go, hopefully. I guess I should probably retweet this show.
Yeah,
and if you are listening or watching, you should too as well, so we can let the people know. The people are probably like, hey, you guys were too late. We don't care anymore. Okay, so Zach Lyons, you're Stoney Keeley.
That's me.
We are not live on the 104.5 The Zone. Yes, we are. There we are.
It's great podcasting.
This is great podcasting.
Yeah.
All right. Let's just dive into it.
Well, I do have an important announcement.
Oh, that's right. You have an important announcement. What is your important announcement?
Yaya Black posted a 2.55 unofficial RAS at the Combine today.
Whoa. Well, is it Yaya or Yaha?
I don't know. That's why you got to
the
get in
important
the
journalism that we need to know.
You got to get in the interviews to figure it out. Yeah.
So I've dubbed this episode The Carter 7, since there's been 6 The Carters.
Mm-hmm.
If you like Lil Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
So, I thought it was pretty creative.
We're going to talk about Abdul Carter.
We're definitely going to be talking about Abdul Carter and the massive overreaction that happened in like a span of 12 hours over that injury.
Yeah, it's like, what, he stepped on a thumbtack or something?
Yeah, I mean it's nothing
fine.
big.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm Zach Lyons, at these Zach Lyons. You are Stoney Keeley, at Stoney Keeley. SoBrosNetwork.com, StackInTheInbox.com. Hot Read Podcast. Of course, me, Cover 2 with Blaine Bishop and Zach Lyons, 1 to 3 p.m. all throughout the week. We got producer Jackson behind the glass. So
I like the energy tonight, by the way.
You do?
It's been a little chaotic, but
it's been very chaotic.
It feels good outside. It feels good in here. We're all just having a good time before the show started. I think we're gonna have one. We're on one tonight.
Okay, so let's start off with this because I kind of want to dive into it and get straight to football. And speaking of football, you have a hat called Music City Football, Tennessee, for those that are watching on YouTube, sent to you by a fan.
Well, a friend, a supporter. I don't like calling people fans, but we met through content, and he sent it to me.
And so the only question I really have is where the fuck is mine?
I don't know. I don't know if he's watching. Sean.
I know that Jackson would like one as well. He loves hats, and now that Ren Carthon's been fired, his hat supply is gone because he was a big T hat guy, and so is Jackson, and he was getting those free supply of T hats. So who got you this Music City Football hat?
It's my friend Sean.
Our friend Sean?
Not Texan Sean.
Not Texan Sean.
Not Texan Sean.
Not I love The Flash and think The Flash is a good movie, Sean.
No, not that Sean. Not that Sean.
Which is also Texan Sean.
I can't remember Sean's Twitter handle off the top of my head, and I don't want to shout out his real name.
That's fine. I mean, Sean's on my shit list.
Okay.
So until he's definitely on Jackson's as well. Is that right, Jackson?
Yeah, dox him.
Yeah, we're doxing him. We are gonna put his phone number and his address since you got a hat shipped to you.
Yeah.
And I would like a hat, 2 hats shipped to the studio. Who did he make the hat?
No, he's got a buddy that makes the hats. And
very,
he was like,
very interesting.
He was like, and I can't remember the name of the company either.
Music City Football?
The tag?
I'm so shitty. I don't want to take my hat off because then people see my dumbass fucking haircut.
Stony.
Well, now I want to see it.
Well, let me just say this.
The show,
well, there's a couple of different things here. We could take this down. People have seen you without sleeves on your arms.
Yeah.
And people have seen you in leggings.
Yeah.
You think which is going to be worse?
Listen, it's my ass looked fat in those leggings.
Yeah.
All right.
PHAT, though.
Yeah, my wife was filming that video, and her exact words were, "Oh my God, you've got like an ass."
Yeah,
And
you
she
got a
did that
donk.
with her hands too.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You married me?
Yeah.
You grab a hold of this thing every time I." Oh, that might be too far.
Yeah.
Might be too
Well,
far.
I mean, she picks up those hams by the handfuls.
But my haircut looks. Oh, I can't do it. I'm too embarrassed.
Would you like to call out the barber that gave you the haircut?
No,
because they're struggling.
No, I don't want to. I don't want to do that.
All right. So, we were talking today to someone potentially trying to get us a sponsor.
Oh, good.
And
Good.
so, one of the salespeople here, shout out to Drew. She's awesome. And they were like, "Oh, so your podcast is about an hour?" I said, "Well, it's about an hour and a half." And Jackson, goes, "Yeah, they spend about 45 minutes talking about nothing, and then they realize that they've been spending 45 minutes talking about nothing and spend the last hour talking about football."
So today we just did the Yap Fest off the air.
Yeah, we did most of the Yap Fest off the air while you guys got to listen to cicadas.
Slice of life show.
It is slice of life.
Got to ease into it.
This is from Tyler Kitts in the YouTube chat. Ayo, I joined streaming. First thing I hear is Stoney's ass and leggings. Yep.
I'm going to have to retweet
Man's got
the picture.
Cakes. Man's got cakes.
Nobody's going to believe me. I'm going to have to retweet the picture again.
Listen, you got, 2 or 3 pictures of you in the leggings? Because there's one with you. Is it like, would you look as that like a ballerina look back?
Yeah. There's that one. There is, I did a video jumping rope in them. From the back.
I've seen this video from the back.
Yeah.
That may be X-rated.
Well, if I turned around, saw it from the front, it definitely would be. I'd get banned from all
So
social media.
I've noticed usually we can get on the Twitter chat if we want to.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of things that may get flagged, apparently we are not allowed to talk back to people on Twitter via the chat.
Really?
Yeah.
How does that work?
I don't know. It's read only, apparently.
Dang.
Must have doged it.
Yeah, I guess. I guess so. Yeah.
Yep.
So Abdul Carter.
Abdul Carter. I don't know if we really want to start. Okay, so last night the world was burning. It was announced because someone leaked the medicals that Abdul Carter has a stress reaction, and everybody's like, "What the fuck is a stress reaction? Does he got hives? Like, what is that?" And it's in his foot. And then everybody is like, "Oh, you can't draft him. A guy who's never missed a college football game, a guy who played through an injury, a guy who led the NCAA in tackles for losses and all this stuff. Can't draft him. He's injury prone."
Did you see that somebody commented on RKW's Twitter feed and said another Caleb Farley situation?
Did they really?
Yeah, it's up there. It's on Twitter.
I fucking hate these people.
Said another Caleb Farley situation.
I mean, okay, so we can say it. So obviously 3HL, they threw out the P-bomb prick everywhere. Someone
Is that not allowed?
No, it's not allowed. You can't say prick on the radio.
Dang, that's good to know.
Yeah. But someone in the chat, your nemesis, he's your nemesis, but I fight on him I fight against him on your behalf. So like if you're a Batman, I'm Robin, and this guy's Mr. Freeze. Dustin Gill in the chat called him a prick, Travis Hunter a prick based on his answers today.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That did not go over well. Then Joseph called him Joseph read that he called him a prick, and then Ron Slake, said that he called him a prick.
And prick's a bad word, huh?
Yeah, well, it's dick.
I think we should all say prick. Oh, there we go.
You go. He just wanted to feel included.
I say prick all the time.
So, what were we talking about, Abdul Carter? Yeah. He had to, the idiot that said that it's another Caleb Farley situation.
Yeah.
Look, I get the level of skepticism by Titans fans. I mean, I understand. Another injured player. But we got to start putting things in perspective and context.
Yeah.
First off, he's going to work out his pro day.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Well, they said,
that's all you need, right? He's working out.
They even said if he did have the surgery, he would still be ready to go by the draft.
Yeah.
It's like 2 months.
Yeah. That's where you're guys, we can't be freaking out. Again, because then I had people say, well, he's a 1-year wonder and injury prone.
Oh, bro.
And I go, okay, well, Micah Parsons was a 0-year wonder because he never played outside linebacker and then became one of the best outside linebackers in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
And Abdul Carter at least has 1 year.
Man.
And, Jahad Campbell, 4.52. Unofficial 40 so far.
How about that?
Team Rammer, I'll definitely send him in. Jeffrey Bossa, 4.64. I'm a little surprised by that. I figured he'd be a little bit faster.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. But he's real jacked up. Almost said he's real bricked up.
He's real. Well, you did. So you didn't almost say it. You said it. That man's all bricked up.
Brick shithouse.
He is a brick shithouse
on wheels.
But like I am, especially after this morning when all the after it all calmed down and everybody's like, okay, this is not as big of a deal. I just didn't think it was that big of a deal either last night.
I didn't either, man. And I've never throughout the entire development of this story have I thought, oh man, this could be a real red flag. This could really ding his draft stock. When I heard that even if he did have the surgery, he would be ready to go to play by the draft, I was like, oh, okay, so this is nothing.
All right.
It's nothing.
We got two things. Okay. Tyler Kitts is correct. Saw someone post that Julio Jones had the same injury pre-draft. That is true, Tyler Kitts.
Who?
Julio Jones.
Oh, okay. I missed
And then we have Carson Meador, maybe Mador, maybe Meador. But Carson says, hey, guys, orthopedic PA in the Nashville area here. Difference between a stress fracture and I didn't think I even said that right. And a stress reaction, a stress fracture is an action. And that was kind of Christopher Walken. Is an actual break in the bone cortex, and a stress reaction is edema around the bone, signifying an injury with a higher likelihood to fracture in the future if the patient continues to be active on the foot. Damn. I, too, have read that, so I can confirm that even though I am not a doctor, I did read that earlier. So I think that's why the rest is happening.
I didn't even know bones had cortexes anymore.
They do, yep.
How about that?
Where do you think they went? Because you say anymore.
I just thought they went away.
They went away.
Hadn't heard it in a while.
Cortex is gone. Everybody's really excited about the James Pierce 40-yard dash that will help him in special teams, I guess. I mean, the 40-yard dash means shit for edges.
I was listening to that unfold as I was driving in, and I was like, yeah, James Pierce on tape looks exactly like what a player that would run a 4.4 but have a 31-inch vertical looks like.
There you go. That's a good scouting comparison. Okay, back to Abdul Carter. You don't care. I don't care.
I don't care.
Injury.
No.
But when discussing the best player available, I think that's where things have maybe shifted a little bit for both of us.
For me, yeah, and I hated it because I didn't finish my tape study on Travis Hunter until late last night, and then I flipped
Let me say
him.
something real quick.
Let's hear it.
Carson says bone cortexes made a comeback in the late 90s. Little known fact.
How about that?
So they did go away, and then they came back.
So I moved Travis Hunter above Abdul Carter. I think Travis Hunter is the best player in the draft. Can help you in more ways. Just looks like, I mean, the skill that Abdul Carter plays with is fine, but he doesn't look like he's the best athlete on the field every time he's out there.
Is Travis Hunter generational?
I think so.
I mean, it's getting to that point, right? When you start watching the tape, I have a hard time thinking.
It's just so much. Like, the tape is boring.
Yeah.
It's boring because he's just like
so good.
Beating everybody.
Yeah.
And just he's all over the field. He does everything. He's an Iron Man. He plays really hard.
There just seems to be no one on his level.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
And to me, I'm like, everybody's like, well, you can't draft a wide receiver. This is the last time they drafted a wide receiver. Well, it was Keyshawn Johnson. Was the last time a wide receiver went first overall.
Oh, damn, really? It's been that long?
It has been that long. But how many drafts do you think people wish they would have drafted a wide receiver first overall?
I think it's probably
think about Jamar Chase.
Quite high. Was 2007 not – was that the Calvin Johnson draft that Jamarcus Russell went number 1 overall?
That would be another one.
Calvin Johnson went number 3.
Yeah. So to me, I
Jamar
mean, like,
Chase, yeah.
I mean, I look at like those guys, and I'm like, okay, the Justin Jefferson was the Joe Burrow draft.
Yeah.
Cincinnati ended up getting Jamar Chase, but Justin Jefferson went 18th overall. Don't you think that teams wish they would have taken him like 2nd or 3rd overall?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay, maybe not first because Joe Burrow, and that's the point, right? The quarterbacks in this class, they're not 2022 bad.
Yeah.
They're not even I think Keyshawn Johnson was 1996, so they're not even 1996 bad, where no quarterback went in the first round, or the E.J. Manuel draft where no quarterback went, or E.J. Manuel was the only quarterback that went in the first round, which is fucking insane.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I look at it and I'm like, he's the best player.
He is. I think so.
So I think that people that pass on him, whether you're going to play him at wide receiver or cornerback, are going to regret it.
Yeah.
Because he's the best player. And you know what's going to happen? Here's what's going to happen. Some teams are going to pass on Travis Hunter for whatever fucking stupid reason.
Yeah.
And in a redraft in the middle of the season next year, hey, let's do a redraft of the mock redraft of the 2025 draft. Travis Hunter is going to go number 1.
Yeah. I'm telling you, man. People like to the take that I've heard quite a bit this cycle.
Oh man, not to throw 3HL under the bus, but 3HL trying to make the case that there were 4 to 5 wide receivers better than Hunter, and
I was just about to go there. I'm not calling out 3HL, but
well,
the take,
so David in the chat did, and
the take.
I would have probably turned around and went to the studio.
Let's go find him.
Yeah.
Shut it down, Jackson. We got to find him.
I already tried.
I keep hearing people say, yeah, maybe he's the best athlete in the draft, but is he the best cornerback? Is he the best wide receiver? And everybody's like, no. I'm like, yeah. Yeah, I think he is the best corner in this draft. I think he is the best wide receiver.
I think it's
in this
closer
draft.
in corner than it is in wide receiver.
Fair enough. Yeah, but I
think it's clear. I don't think there is even a case to be made that Travis Hunter is not the number 1 wide receiver in this draft.
I can't think of one.
I can make the case for I can understand people making the case for Jada Barron. Did I say his first name right?
Jade Barron.
Jade Barron.
Jade
Barron in Texas, or who I think is the second best corner in this draft, Will Johnson.
I like Azaria Thomas too.
Yeah, Azaria Thomas is good, but there is a huge gap between Travis Hunter, the wide receiver, and wide receiver 2. There is a much smaller gap between Travis Hunter, the cornerback, and cornerback number 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And it might piss off the T-Mac truthers, but T-Mac is nowhere near wide receiver 1. That's what I hear is everybody's like, oh, Tet McMillan is the best actual wide receiver in the class. And I'm like, no, I rage against that. That drives me nuts. Because I don't know if Tet McMillan should be a first-round draft pick.
Well, he's fallen down draft boards for a reason, right? Like,
yeah,
there are scouts and everything that are questioning his love of ball. T-Mac, Tet McMillan. They're saying that they don't know if he loves ball and he takes plays off constantly.
Yeah,
you know who
absolutely.
doesn't fucking take a play off?
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I like.
You know
Luther.
who's the best wide receiver in the draft? Travis Hunter. It's not even close.
No, it's
not.
not.
The data, the film, the scouts. Because like Sam Monson even said late last night, I sent it and I didn't bookmark it. I should have bookmarked it. But Sam Monson, formerly a PFF? Yeah, formerly a PFF, said that he has yet to find one draft analyst that did not have he goes, I haven't spoken to an analyst yet at the Combine that doesn't have Travis Hunter as wide receiver 1 in this draft. He finally found one, and it was Tampa Bay Trey. It would have been Trevor Sycamore, for those who do not know.
Yeah.
He has Tet McMillan number 1.
Oh, man.
So it took, at the Combine, the majority of the draft analysts say he is wide receiver 1. And Peter Schrager quote tweets that and says cornerback 1 and wide receiver 1.
Yes.
Unicorn.
Thank you, Peter Schrager.
Unicorn, which to me means generational.
Yeah, I'm right there with you,
and
man.
we finally came around to it. We finally found a generational talent, and maybe we're a little slow on the uptick.
Somebody in this room has been saying for quite a while now that there's generational talent in this draft.
Jackson, have you been saying that? Because he's technically not in this room.
I'm in this room.
Oh, you.
Come on.
Well, let me say this. You've also made the argument generational prospect, generational talent. You had a delineation to it.
Okay.
So I'm thinking that this is a generational prospect.
Like in the sense that most people use the term.
Yeah. Like I do think that this is and I've kind of been on board with this and I kind of haven't. And then I kind of made excuses, because sometimes when I go through the draft process and watching film, I nitpick a lot.
It's easy to do.
And the reason I want to nitpick is because I want to try to find as many flaws of the game, and then I go back and rewatch the game. So I've been going back and rewatching some of the top prospects. And I'm thinking, like, if I'm the Tennessee Titans at 1 and I don't get a trade back scenario, I'm drafting Travis Hunter. And first off, let me say this. I think they'd be fucking insane to not put him at wide receiver and let him just play a little bit of cornerback.
I do too. Yeah.
I think they would be, and that to me would let me know this is not the right coaching staff. Like get him out, fire him right then and there.
I think it would be ideal to play him at wide receiver. You get him on the field at the same time. A lot of the shit that like Brian Callahan wants to run, you don't have to, like, you can coach him along to run routes and do some of the nuanced things that wide receivers do in the NFL. You can do that. And in the meantime, use him in a myriad of ways. He can be kind of a gadgety guy. He has some slot versatility. Move him around the formation, put him in motion, that sort of stuff. Feed him, get the ball into his hands and let him make magic happen, because that's what he's a specialist at. Him and Ridley on the field at the same time together, that's some serious speed, man. That is a lightning rod into this passing game.
And that speed that could be in different parts of the formation.
Yeah, exactly. Opposite sides of the field even, like stress the defense horizontally and vertically. Like you can get creative with a chess piece like Travis Hunter, but also you and I have talked about this. I don't know if we've talked about it on air, but there is a timeline where this team probably does need to get younger, or at least start thinking about the long-term future of the cornerback position too. If Snead doesn't return to form, if Cheeto doesn't return to form, if something doesn't pan out with Roger McCreary, you've got a guy that you could plug over there to fill that need as well. So play him at wide receiver. If the day comes that you're in desperate need for a corner, he can check that box too. Like, it makes all the sense in the world to me for the Titans to take this guy, get him on the field on offense, make plays, be a spark plug for this offense.
Yeah, I get everybody loves the idea of a quarterback. And I understand. I'm not really here to debate, well, the Titans have to get quarterback or they should get a quarterback or blah, blah, blah. I just want to talk about Travis Hunter in a vacuum.
Yeah.
And Travis Hunter in a vacuum is just a fucking phenomenal player. Like,
he is, man.
You appreciate it watching it live.
Mm-hmm.
You appreciate it in your first go-around in all 22, but you want to look for the flaws.
Yeah.
And then in your second go-around in all 22s, you're like, you can't deny it.
Yeah, there's some stuff that, like you said, you're nitpicking. You're watching the tape, and you're like, I don't really know about what he just did there, and you jot it down. And then when you get to the end of the game, you look back at your notes, and you're just like, that is like, what a stupid thing to complain about. Cross through it, and you move on. Like, I get the idea of wanting to poke holes in the prospects at this time of year because you want to kick over rocks. You want to find potential weaknesses. But every now and then, man, you watch a guy on tape that you're just like, it is what it is. Yeah. He's showing you exactly who he is, and there aren't many questions. I think that's the key distinction here. You watch a lot of prospects and a lot of guys that are going to be first-rounders, and you come away from the tape having questions. We sat here and did it with Shedeur Sanders. Like, is the pocket feel an issue? We did it with Cam Ward. Like, what's with the reckless throws? You gotta sit down in the interviews and figure that stuff out. With Travis Hunter, I get to the end of his tape, and I watched 6 games on offense, 6 games on defense, and I'm just like, I don't really have any questions about Travis Hunter.
Right. I just look at it like, and he can help the team. And again, I understand that the team just told us that, we view him as a cornerback. I don't know if there is like a benefit for them doing that.
Yeah.
But I don't know how the guy that drafted Shamar Chase over Penei Sewell, who last year on the radio was talking about the need for explosive playmakers, went through, watched the film, and said, yeah, well, he would probably start out at cornerback.
Yeah, I don't – and I told you earlier, I was like, I want to go back and listen to that soundbite because I felt like he was parroting a lot of the national narrative and not necessarily speaking about the Titans because I feel like he phrased it as you would probably start him out at corner. And to me, I felt like he wasn't as hard on the stance as everybody makes him out to be. I don't think and again, I could be wrong. I could be misremembering it. It happens all the time. I didn't get a sense that he came out and said, yes, if we draft Travis Hunter, he's going to start week 1 at cornerback for us.
Well, and also, yeah, I mean, maybe that's the way to take it. It's I think that's just a guy that you just let play football.
I do too.
You know, I think Blaine said it best, and you kind of agree. That dude's a wide receiver. He should be your number one target when you go through your progressions. He should get the ball in any way possible, whether it's end arounds, jet sweeps. Yeah, jet sweeps.
There we go.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Screens. Yeah.
Yeah, screens. Whatever you think that, you know, he needs to be, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, and I don't think it's unreasonable to look at his talent, the way he was used at Colorado, project that to how he could be used at the NFL and not see somebody, I hesitate to say it, to not see Shamar Chase. Like, that's who I kept seeing watching his tape. Was just like, man, you could put this guy anywhere and just dink and dunk the ball to him, and he's going to make plays. I think he could be a really good deep threat the way he separates downfield. Ran a few post routes that he just got effortless separation on. I think he could be that type of playmaker for whoever drafts him.
Mike Vrabel's burner says, Travis Hunter is the Jalen Carter of this draft, the best player slipping because suit's getting too smart.
Man, I don't think
he'll slip that far to where Jalen Carter is at, but I get what he's saying, and I agree.
I agree.
Because if the Tennessee Titans trade back to 3 and Travis Hunter's still there, you run to the podium.
Yeah.
Even if Abdul Carter's still there.
Mm-hmm. And if he goes to New England, that's going to be something because they need a wide receiver.
Well, Mike Vrabel won't know how to fucking use him.
Would Josh McDaniels?
Well, is he running his own offense or Mike Vrabel's offense?
They're going to run the old Todd Downing special up there. But I also think at corner, he could be a really good fit in Vrabel's scheme. Travis Hunter likes to play off quite a bit, and we know that was the thing with Vrabel. There's a lot of zone responsibilities in that defense, and I think, you know, a lot of people have pegged Hunter as a zone corner in the NFL. I think it would be a pretty logical fit.
Ed Henry says,
shout out Ed Henry.
He goes, am I crazy for wanting to grab Graham over Hunter if both of them are available? Yes.
Yeah. Oh, man, did you see Graham's measurables came in?
I knew his measurables were going to be that way. The draft community kind of tried to brace all the fans with that, and they said that doesn't matter.
It was worse than I thought, though.
Yeah, well, it's funny because, you know, for a guy like Mason Graham with that kind of tape, it just doesn't matter. Like, to me,
you're right.
Now, maybe you are limited in where on the defensive line you can put him.
Yeah.
But to me, Mason Graham, I think, is arguably the 3rd or 4th best player in this draft.
I've got him at 3.
Yeah. I would say that I'd probably go Travis Hunter, Abdul Carter, Mason Graham.
Yeah. I think that's how I've got him. I can't remember who's in my top 5 now.
Team Ramrod said Graham is just Jarrell Casey. Maybe in size, I guess. I don't really remember Jarrell Casey's size, and he does mean it as a compliment, but like, that dude's a game wrecker. I think this is like when people overthought Braden Fisk's size.
Yeah, fair enough. I think, you know, Mason Graham could be like if Jarrell Casey took the super soldier serum.
Yeah.
Like had the strength and agility, the juice.
He's Red Hulk Jarrell Casey.
Red Hulk Jarrell Casey. Yeah, absolutely. That's what he is.
So Coach Wills on Twitter says, watch Travis Hunter basketball highlights. If he wanted to hoop, he could.
Yeah.
And that's a big thing with Blaine. Now, Blaine claims at 5'8", closer to 5'9", that he used to be able to do a 360 dunk.
You going to tell that man he couldn't?
Yeah, you go ahead and do that.
I'm just saying but he's a big guy. He's a big believer in, if I was a scout, I would take most of these athletes to a basketball court and watch them hoop. Because he wants hoopers.
Yeah.
So there
Travis
you go.
Hunter's a hooper. Checks that box.
Checks the box. He loves Travis Hunter. And I think tomorrow, we didn't get to it today, but I think tomorrow we'll probably cement Travis Hunter, number one, as the number one prospect in the Cover 2 big board. And obviously he's number one on the F-Words big board. Yeah,
I made that switch last night, and it's not anything to do with Abdul Carter's injury, nothing to do with his tape or anything. I finished Travis Hunter. I sat down and wrote my report. I've got the cornerback scouting report with a video up on Stacking the Inbox now. The wide receiver scouting report drops tomorrow. Watched a lot of Travis Hunter tape over the last 2 weeks, and I'm sitting there with my thoughts at the end of the night. Got a nice glass of bourbon, sitting there unwinding.
Eddie goes, the Abdul Carter episode's going really well. Well, I did the Travis Hunter theme last week, so I needed a different theme.
And I'm just sitting there to myself.
We just got through our Carter discourse a little bit quicker
true.
than I thought.
Yeah. I'm like, Travis Hunter is the best player in this draft. I told you today, should I say this yet, or should I just wait?
Just do it.
I think this is the fourth draft I've covered. I think Travis Hunter's the best player I've ever covered.
I don't think I could think of a player that I would say that I'd technically disagree with you. Because, I have Mason Graham 3, but I would also say that, you said last 4 drafts, including this draft, I guess. So that would be...
The way I looked at it...
I would almost say that Aiden Hutchinson would be close. I was a big Aiden Hutchinson guy.
I was low on him. I was wrong about him.
Yeah, I was a big Aiden Hutchinson guy, and I thought he should have gone 1 overall.
Yeah.
But I understand, the Jaguars are idiots, much like ESPN's analyst Booger McFarland. That thinks that Shamar Stewart should go ahead of Abdul Carter.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
So we'll get into that later, though.
The way I looked at it, 2022 was the first year that I actually started watching tape, not just like highlights and game broadcasts and stuff like that. I had a big board of 100 players. It was the first year I did it. I looked back at 2022, and I went each year by year, who was my number one overall. I had Kyle Hamilton, 2022, number one overall. I like Travis Hunter better than him. I like Travis Hunter better than Bryce Young, 2023. And I like Travis Hunter better than Rome Odunze last year. So Travis Hunter's, by that logic, the best player that I've scouted in 4 years.
I would agree with that. I can't really think of a player that I've enjoyed, and I'm just talking the offensive side. I love the cornerback side as well. I mean, he is my wide receiver 1, cornerback 1. But when I'm talking as a complete prospect, I look at this. I know that he wants to play both ways. So if you were to do the thing like we were talking about, where in certain packages and situations you put him as an outside corner to acquiesce that. But when you're talking about a guy that's likely going to focus more on one position, because he did 3 days of working out at cornerback, 3 days of working out at wide receiver. Well, if he gets maybe 5 days working at wide receiver and 1 day working at cornerback, how much better is he going to be focusing on one position?
Yeah.
Or the majority of his time on one position.
It's a steady argument.
So that's kind of how I look at it, is I agree regardless of what he would be. But a part of what makes him generational, though, is his ability to play both sides.
Yeah.
Is that there is an actual argument, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's an actual argument of, if you're a team, do you want him as your cornerback or do you want him as your wide receiver?
Mm.
And it's most times that is a discussion is well, I think you could be an offensive tackle, but you're more likely than a guard, but maybe we'll try you at tackle. Here it's well, do I want an elite wide receiver prospect or an elite corner prospect? Not a maybe tackle, but, a good guard.
What if I don't mean to completely derail the conversation. But
Titan Travis said, Travis is just such a cool name. He's going to be a superstar.
I like that. Nice play. What if you're the Titans, you draft him to be your wide receiver, but you play him some based on the matchups in the slot at corner when you need a third guy on the field in those coverage situations?
But would you want to put him in the slot, or would you want to put him on the outside and keep McCreary or Brownlee Jr. in the slot?
Yeah, maybe that's the play then.
See, that's what I think is like mainly wide receiver, but then you put him in these certain situations on the outside at cornerback.
I'm thinking like going up against a team that has 3 decent wide receivers and you need a third guy out there.
Man match it.
Yeah. So like the inverse of what everybody is saying to do, I think would benefit the Titans to have him at primarily wide receiver.
Put him at safety for all I fucking care.
Sub him in certain packages against certain looks on defense, and then you're stacked at corner.
So Eddie wants to know, have you changed your opinion on his ability to play man Stoney?
So I need to clarify that because I had somebody ask me about it on Twitter last Saturday too. I said there's a lack of physicality, and I feel like I'm not doing a good enough job of explaining my reasoning behind that. I don't want to say that Travis Hunter is not a dog. I think he plays his ass off. I just don't think he's like mentally from an aggression standpoint, he's not like the Cortland Finnegan type that's going to go out there and start swinging a helmet, stuff like that. I think that is kind of what Denard Wilson wants in a quarterback. So when I say I don't think he's necessarily a scheme fit, it has more to do with his mindset, the attitude with which he plays, and less to do with any sort of technical deficiency. I do get why people say he's probably going to just be, he's like the best zone corner in the draft. He needs to go somewhere that plays primarily zone, but he is good in man situations still. And it's not the man that we see from L'Jarius Sneed and Jarvis Brownlee where that ball is snapped and you're going to eat a fist to the face right off the line of scrimmage. But he's in man situations, and you can go back and I remember rep after rep after rep of it in the BYU game where he's in a man situation. The guy tries to put his hand on him. He just calmly bats the hand down and just runs with the guy stride for stride, attached to his hip pocket, that sort of deal, up the field. The guy's not even an option. Like, you can't even look at him.
He also mentions 180 pounds, and I'm thinking, well, Asante Samuel Jr. was 180 pounds. Nate Wiggins, who just went to the Ravens, who had a very good year.
Nate Wiggins is good.
He weighed 173 pounds last year.
Yeah. So
and Travis Hunter is better than both of them at playing corner.
So I think,
in my opinion,
when I look at it, I just think stylistically, I don't know if he's the type of corner that we've seen from Denard Wilson, and that's discounting his flexibility to change things to fit the player, right? I'm just assuming if he wants to run it back like what we had last year, maybe Hunter is not the type of corner that he wants. But I don't think I would say that he's incapable of playing man. And I don't think I've done a good enough job being clear about that. I think I'm guilty of just saying, he's going to be his own corner, whatever.
Ed Henry says, I missed opening the pod. Sorry if you covered it, in which we didn't. But concerning that, he said, I've already got 2 jobs when asked about special teams. So is it concerning that he said that? To me, it is not.
No.
To be honest, I like the idea of him returning punts and everything. But at the end of the day, this dude has played enough snaps. I'd rather him just personally, and I understand that he may not want to do it, but that's kind of the conversations you have to have in these interviews. Personally, and I like his attitude and his response. If he responds that way at the press conference that he does in the meetings, like, I'm going to play both ways, it's up to you to find a way to use me.
Yeah.
I'm all in. I want the dog mentality. That is their job.
I was going to bring that up. I don't know, did he flat out say, no, I'm not playing special teams?
He just said, I've already got 2 jobs.
I'm not worried about it kind of deal. Like, he didn't rule it out. I mean, he flat out said, like, it's up to the coaches. It's on y'all to figure out how to use me. So it wasn't like he was like, oh, I'm too good to play special teams.
To me, I look at it and I go, he's already got a lot of tread on the tire.
Yeah, I don't.
And it's not because of anything other than I'm just like, I want him to focus on one thing and want him to be elite at one thing. I mean, is Justin Jefferson out there returning punts and kicks?
No.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I want him to be my franchise elite wide receiver.
Yeah.
Now, if he needs to go return or a punt or a kick and, like, to win a game and, like, if it's 10 minutes, we got 10 seconds to go and the team's going to punt it, well, I'm going to put Travis Hunter back there for that punt.
Yeah.
But do I want him taking, 10 punts a game or whatever it's going to be, kick returns and all that? Not really.
No.
I just want him to be a fucking wide receiver.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to run with this.
And this is how I'd approach it with them. We're going to have you play some corner. In the big moments, you also play punt return. But at the end of the day, we want to get you paid as a wide receiver.
Exactly.
And guess what's still going to get you the most money? Being a fucking wide receiver.
You took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly what I was going to say. I'm leaning into it. I think he should be wide receiver with some packages on defense.
And listen, I get, and Coach Will says we haven't had a returner in like 8 years. I get it.
Jaquan Jackson was leading the Pro Bowl vote.
Don't do that. Don't make me say nasty things about Jaquan Jackson. He's already probably going to get cut.
I'm not making you say anything.
Well, I'm just saying.
I'm just spitting
that poor
the
kid.
facts.
That poor kid.
It's not too late for him.
But look, at the end of the day, most competent evaluators can find a punt returner.
Yeah.
That's all. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some guys in this draft class.
Kavontae Turpin, undrafted free agent that was signed from the XFL.
I was about to say he's out of the XFL.
Yeah, he's out of the XFL.
Yeah.
So technically, he's still, I guess, would he still be an undrafted free agent in that instance? But, like, again, you can find returners.
There's a whole crop of guys in this
class.
And
we now have a coach that should be able to identify a returner with his eyes blindfolded. Like, I just want the dude to play wide receiver. I want him to be elite. And I want him to earn a $40 million contract because that's probably what, by the time he's up for a contract, that's probably what I want that guy. I want the guy that at the end of the contract that has proven every year to be deserving of getting the big contract, top of the market contract.
Yeah, I'm with you. How would you feel about a wide receiving core that is comprised of Calvin Ridley, Travis Hunter, they re-sign Nick Westbrook-Akine, and then they go get their, like, shifty slot guy / returner, your Jalen Knoll, your Jalen Lane, your LeJontay Wester, Colorado teammate. How would you feel about a receiving core like that?
I would be horny as fuck.
Because I'm thinking, like, you fixed the room.
If you tell me that we get both Travis Hunter and LeJontay Wester, I may never wear pants again.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, you could fix this right now with who they have under contract. It's Calvin Ridley, and then who's wide receiver number 2? Bryce Oliver. Like, you could flip.
Let's be careful here. Bryce Oliver and Calvin Ridley are probably a top 10 duo in the NFL.
Fair enough. But you could flip this entire room. Well, let's add Bryce Oliver. He's the 5th guy.
Yeah. I mean, okay, you tell me.
Traylon Burks is still on the roster.
You ruined it. Boner gone.
I'm sorry.
That is like, you're naked in the locker room and everybody's laughing at you.
Yeah.
You're throwing Traylon Burks out there like that.
Yeah.
Like, if you got Travis Hunter, Calvin Ridley, Nick Westbrook-Akine, LeJontay Wester, Bryce Oliver as your wide receivers,
man,
we could probably go out there because LeJontay Wester is a yak monster.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, and he's probably going to be day 3 guy.
We could throw to him. Not even really. Man. Will Levis could really fuck that up.
Like there's an opportunity.
Could, but, I mean, he shouldn't.
But there's an opportunity there to add some heavy artillery to this passing attack.
What about if they went Hunter, then Jack Besh?
Oh, buddy. You want to talk about Red Hulk? It's going to be bursting out of my jeans. So, yeah.
Hey, You can say Red Hulk bursting out of your jeans, but you can't say prick on the radio. Is that right, Jackson? Do I have that right?
I don't know if I could get away with that.
I think prick is more of a gray area, if we're being honest.
Okay. So, I mean, but Red Hulk is fine. It's in the clear.
Yeah.
Okay. So Red Hulking out of those jeans.
That's
because, I mean, technically, people may not think that, because, when the Hulk grows, he just busts out of his jeans, pretty much. I mean, they get rips.
Yeah.
So maybe they're just not thinking about a huge, massive boner.
That's what my boner's going to do. It's going to be
I don't think you can say boner on the radio.
Oh,
so
my bad.
We just get, Red Hulk.
Bright red is kind of crazy.
Well, I'm
thinking about those, like a dog's red rocket.
Yeah.
Clifford the big red dog just red rocking it on a skyscraper right now.
Y'all are going to have to figure out what to do because you're in the room with it.
So it goes, y'all are serious? And I go, not really.
Assault.
I mean, we're serious, but not serious.
I love Jack Besh. I'm not joking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, like, to me, it's just like, what a crazy first live episode for me to sit in on.
Oh, man.
Welcome to the show, Trevor Gersmel.
Hey, welcome, Trevor. Shout out, Trevor. Thanks for giving us a shot.
But, like, I look at it and I go, he's just so good.
He is. It's an easy eval. It's a very clean eval. Like I said, you get to the end of it and you're just like, the question with Travis Hunter is, can you teach him how to run routes, basically? But
that's why you have a fucking wide receiver coach.
Yeah, and
right?
I'm also just like
Ty Tolbert, earn your fucking money.
but also, like, I don't know that you do if you have guys that can run routes on the team and get the timing stuff that you need done. You could just use Travis Hunter the way Colorado used them: screens, jet sweep, motion, short game, stuff like that. Like, you can still do that, and it's perfectly fine to let a generational athlete do crazy things on the football field.
And again, all we're saying, and I know that we're talking about Travis Hunter and his fit in the Titans offense and everything, but all we're saying is Travis Hunter is the clear number one prospect in this draft.
I think so.
In our opinions.
I think so.
Some people would have Cam Ward.
No.
Commit them. Time to retire.
I
Take
think
him out back.
I still think both of these quarterbacks.
I think it's just clearly Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. 1A, 1B, clear one if you want to have it, and then there's a clear 2. I just don't know if there's anybody else that you can literally say that is better than those two.
I think there's Travis
Mason
Hunter.
Graham is the closest.
I think there's Travis Hunter, there's Abdul Carter, and then there's like Mason Graham, and then everybody else.
Okay, so let's get back to Abdul Carter since this is called the Carter 7.
Okay.
And it's kind of like I want to talk Abdul Carter since we've already talked about the injury and how it's a big non-factor. And obviously we both moved him down to at least the number 2 spot.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's like look at it this way. If Travis Hunter, I guess the top scoring system for this group is 9. If Travis Hunter is a 9.
Yeah, okay.
Abdul Carter's an 8.7.
Okay.
Like, he's not that far off from Travis Hunter in terms of what his tape shows, the kind of prospect he is.
Yeah.
But then you have a guy like Shamar Stewart, who today goes off at the combine.
Yeah.
But then I ask, why didn't that show up on tape? Like, where was this explosiveness to lead to more sacks, to lead to more pressures? Not a great pressure rate, not a great sack rate. Never has had double-digit tackles for losses. Never has. I don't even think he had double-digit sacks this year, if I'm not mistaken.
I saw somebody. I don't know if it's accurate or not, but somebody said he's had like 4.5 sacks in the whole 3 years he's played.
Well, I mean, so I look at this and I go, this is that case where he is the Trayvon Walker of this edge group.
Yeah.
Now, listen, Trayvon Walker, I think he's a little bit more raw than Trayvon Walker.
Yeah.
And he's a lot more athletic than Trayvon Walker, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But Trayvon Walker's had 10 sacks the last 2 seasons, but he's not
coming along.
Yeah. He was not worth the first overall pick.
No.
And I do not think that Shamar Stewart is a top 10 pick because he's all athlete. You don't have the time to develop that guy, I feel like, if you're going to draft him in the top 3.
Yeah.
in the top 10, I kind of see it in this class. Like, I understand why someone would draft him in the top 10, but this feels like a prospect that you take his draft positioning plus his athleticism at the combine, and you're going to equal disappointment. I think he's going to disappoint a fan base.
I kind of feel like, not as a player comp, but I feel like the discussion about Shamar Stewart is the exact same conversation we had about Tyree Wilson a few years ago.
Yeah, that's a good one, too.
And he has not been very
Unfortunately,
good.
They have their assistant GM of the Tennessee Titans is the guy that drafted Tyree Wilson.
Well, maybe they do take trade back and take Shamar Stewart. Yeah,
and they have had a formal meeting, and the last time I got really upset at a draft. Would have been when they picked Monty Rice. Yeah. Well, I guess technically Des Fitzpatrick was picked after him, so when they drafted Des Fitzpatrick, I almost killed myself and my wife driving a car.
Oh,
because I was so mad.
Okay, I didn't know where you were going with that. I'd have to refresh my memory. I've got notes on Shamar Stewart in my book, but it was I came away from the tape study just kind of being like, what is this guy? Like, what is he? And you kind of felt the same way about Tyree Wilson. And you had to do a lot of projecting based off of the athletic testing. And you could see it at the combine. He was a freak athlete. Shamar Stewart, if I'm not mistaken, he just posted like a perfect RAS. Did he? I think he got the 10.
Did he get the 10?
I think so. There was an update. I know he started at 9.55, but freak athlete that somebody is going to fall in love with. And that's why I think he's ultimately a top 10 pick. I don't know that he really the tape really backs it up. It's going to be one of those cases where somebody sees the traits and says, we can teach him how to rush the passer.
Lowest sack rate in the edge class.
Okay.
Tied for the lowest tackles for losses was 6. Okay. 0.6 sack rate, by the way. 0.6.
Buddy.
I mean, I just look at it and I go, and his run stop percentage is pretty mediocre. But when you look at what the Tennessee Titans have traditionally drafted with Mike Berganzi, Tracy Rocker, Ben Bloom, Denard Wilson, taking all those guys' histories of where they've been in positions of power, this is not a dude that seems to fit other than he's athletic.
Yeah.
And he did get a 10 as the first. He's number 1 out of 1,809 defensive ends.
So,
I mean, what did you think about his Senior Bowl performance?
Everybody was raving about him, but I mean, he had some reps where you kind of saw like, oh, this is more than we saw on the tape, so maybe there is room to grow. But I wasn't like blown away by him either.
See, that's the thing is like he looks like when you see him walk onto the field, when you see him in the formation, when you see him get out of his stance, you're like, this dude is going to fucking wreck shop.
Yeah.
And he just there never felt like a game where he just wrecked shop to me.
My notes, to sum them up, basically good leverage, power rusher, hammers the edge, good drive, caves in the edge and closes the gap to stop the run. Aims at the core and has strength to control it when his feet and hands are in sync. But also could really dent OTs if he got his pads down more consistently. Springs a little high out of his stance. Offensive line is able to control the shoulders. Wobbly back and forth left and right shoulders. Needs to learn how to disengage and hit plan B instead of just running into a wall over and over.
6 total sacks over his 3-year career.
Yeah.
That's rounded up because that's PFF. So whoever said 4.5 is probably right.
Yeah.
I mean, when's the last productive edge rusher?
Man, I don't know.
That had that kind of numbers?
I can't think of anybody.
I mean, if you're in the PFF grades,
yeah,
which I understand the way the PFF does them, so I don't agree with their methodology, but they do have a strong correlation for whatever reason that the grades they could devise up on PFF translate to the NFL.
Yeah.
He's 7.2 above the average, which average is 60.
Okay.
So he's 67.2 in pass rush. He's got pretty good run defense.
So that shows up on tape.
But again, why are you drafting a guy for his run defense? And that's not why you'd be drafting him, but he's got a high missed tackle rate.
Yeah.
Low defensive stops, only 15 defensive stops in 2024, 4 last year, 9 the year before, 24, 28 defensive stops.
So the thing that worries me about the fact that the Titans have already met with him, I think back to Mike Borgonzi talking about speed, and we applied it to wide receiver, talking about all the fast guys that they had in Kansas City. But if it's a trait that you covet and you just want your football players to be fast guys, athletes, traitsy, and you see a guy that you're like, wow, that frame, he's strong, he's a powerful rusher, can defend the run, good base to build off of, we can take those traits and turn him into a pass rusher. That's the thing that concerns me, because I don't know, as far as value goes, I'm not taking him with the top 10 pick. Somewhere in the 20s, like everybody, the popular mock spot is Atlanta, and I think they're at 19 or 18, if I'm not mistaken. Totally fine with that. But where this team is at right now, I think they need a foundational building block guy, and the production, the tape just isn't there for me to believe that he is a foundational building block type of guy. And that's what concerns me, is that I feel like this regime does seem to covet speed and traits.
Yeah, I mean,
to me, it's
here's the thing. Shamar Stewart is landing spot specific.
Yeah.
And this is not a good landing spot for Shamar Stewart. I think that's how I'd put it. Because, like, if Shamar Stewart got to go be in a rotation with the Eagles, he's probably going to look phenomenal, and everybody's going to jerk off Howie Roseman over that, they can't believe the NFL let Shamar Stewart fall. That's because he probably doesn't fit the majority of the NFL.
Sure.
And sure, you can kind of say, like, well, speed rusher or look at the athleticism, you have to draft him.
Yeah.
And that's what Booger McFarland said. You got to draft the athleticism. And listen, RES, here's what I'll say. All the Pro Bowlers and all pros over the last, 5-6 years, all have good athleticism.
Yeah.
Great, elite athleticism.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't necessarily mean that every edge that has great athleticism is going to be an all-pro, all-pro, and Pro Bowler. So we got to take, Will McDonald would be a good example. He was awesome in RAS, and I think he personally had better tape than Shamar Stewart, if I recall correctly.
Wholeheartedly.
So, I look at it and I go, okay, that's the case. But that's where I go to this tweet with Marcus Mosher, and I just don't agree with the premise of this tweet. Josh Norris starts it, and he goes, I would love to draft a pass rusher with top-tier athleticism and great production, which is possible in this draft.
Yeah.
But if that's not possible, which it rarely is in the NFL, I mean, you can find one of those guys that does both. I would pick the top-tier athlete over college production.
Okay.
Marcus Mosher quotes that, yes, not very many average athletes turn out to be good players. The question is, where do you take the special athletes with no production? And I agree with that question. Where do you take the special athletes with no production? That's Shamar Stewart.
Yeah.
I don't agree with the other stuff, not very many average athletes turn out to be good players. I don't think that's necessarily true.
Yeah, I don't.
Especially at edge, there are good players.
Yeah.
Just depends on where you draft them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is, to me, the value of Shamar Stewart is really in the 20s because those teams are teams that are already near playoff contending teams that can take on Shamar Stewart.
The project.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's more of a role player in a situation like that with an established culture, established systems, established roster where maybe he can ease into it. Like, situationally speaking, that's the ideal landing spot for a guy like Shamar Stewart.
Huge breaking news.
Uh-oh.
I know we don't have a news drop, Jackson, but I want you to pay attention to this. JT Runk. Is it Runke or Runk?
Runke.
JT Runke. Put a Y on the end of your name. JT Runke of the Hot Read podcast chimed in. He goes, I just want you all to know PK was crying laughing at the Easton Freeze pants pooping story. So he's put that in the chat.
I need to hear this story.
So that means it's public domain.
It's out there
Easton pooped his pants. Okay? Easton pooped his pants during his engagement photo session with his wife and his mother.
Oh, man.
There watching. Was his mother watching?
I need context.
I mean, I don't know what other context you need. They were at the Parthenon or something, and he was pooping on the steps of the Parthenon.
I don't remember. I'd had a few that night.
And he allegedly. This is where the story kind of loses it for me. He allegedly, because these were new pleated khaki pants that his mom bought him for these photos, and allegedly, he put the pants back in the box and gave him his mom to ship back to get a refund.
No shot.
That's what he said. But
Those Mobile nights,
I mean,
man.
apparently it was like leaking, his anal leakage, and it was just leaking through.
We don't have to tell
Dear
the people
God.
about anal leak.
JT brought it up. I mean,
Yeah.
And he wants people to believe that he knows how to ride a bike. He can't even not poop his pants. I don't get it.
Jesus.
Trevor, who's trying to get us back on track, the new guy, Trevor Gershmel, he says, who's better, Shamar or Mike Green? And I'm going Mike Green all day.
I love Mike Green.
I would take Jalen Walker over Shamar Stewart. I would take Mike Green over Shamar Stewart.
What about Mykel Williams?
Well, that's tough. I think I would take Mykel Williams, though.
I see a lot of...
I really don't want either of those guys, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I'm kind of...
I mean, maybe if I'm a team of the Eagles or something, it's hard for me not to skew things a little bit more Titan-centric.
Yeah.
But someone goes, how dark were the khakis? Did he hide it? No, there's no hiding it. Everybody saw it.
I want to see those engagement photos.
They probably photoshopped them. They probably had to, magic lasso one part of the pleated khakis and put him over his taint area.
One of the reject
Because, I mean, it's leaking down, I guess, his ball sack into the front of the khakis. And apparently, I don't know. It's a crazy story.
I want to see the reject photo of the look of pure terror.
I'm probably, and Easton's probably never going to talk to us now. The story's out there.
If the conversations from those Mobile nights ever saw the light of day, we'd all be in trouble.
Well, this one's JT's fault. Technically, we're very Ron Burgundy. You put it in the chat, we're probably going to read it. Okay, so Ed Henry asks. Okay, so we were talking about Jalen Walker first off, and then you said Mykel Williams. So where are you at on that?
I don't know. I think I probably would take Shamar Stewart over him.
It'd be pretty close for me. I think I lean the other way though.
But I do like Jalen Walker, and I know the size.
Whoa, what?
The measurements came through less than ideal, but I think he's versatile. He can play a lot more.
What?
What are we doing here? We've got more breaking news? More breaking news.
Eddie, where are you seeing that?
Oh, no, I know what he's talking about. There was a report. I don't know if it's any I don't know if it's any concrete evidence. There was just someone wrote an article that basically said the Rams and the Raiders have found common ground in hashing out a deal for Stafford.
Oh, okay.
So it wasn't like anything's been done, but it breathes life into this theory you've been working on, Cover 2, that Matthew Stafford might end up being a Las Vegas Raider.
By the way,
Jordan
Trayvon
Schultz
Walker
was right.
Trayvon Walker was 9.99 RAS.
Yeah, man. And the tape wasn't really all that great.
Nope.
I had Trayvon Walker, I think he was my 13th ranked player in that class. So and that's kind of what I see. I don't know if it's because they're in the same defense playing similar roles. That's kind of what I see from Mykel Williams, however you pronounce it. That's what I see in him a little bit.
Okay, so what's the gap between edge 1, Abdul Carter, and edge 2?
Oh, man, who is edge 2 in this class?
Jalen Walker, right?
I would
Do you put him
say
there?
So. I might. Oh, boy. I don't know. I might flirt with Mike Green.
I wouldn't be surprised if people had Mike Green as number 2.
I should pull up my big board and I could look at it.
Oh, let me just say something. Speaking of edge rushers, Donovan Ezeraku.
I like him.
6.94 3-cone, 4.19 shuttle.
Oh, shit.
Best among a limited group of defensive linemen. Less than 20 did each of those. That is the 91st percentile on edge and 92nd percentile on edges. Ooh, buddy.
How about that? That is saucy.
That is saucy. Donovan at 35. I'd be all in on Donovan Ezeraku as well.
Yeah, I would
Travis
too.
Hunter, Donovan Ezeraku.
Buddy.
Abdul Carter, since he's undraftable because of his edge.
Yeah, we'll get him.
His injury.
Undrafted free agent.
Okay, so.
How long have we been talking?
I think we're just up on an hour, right?
Are we?
We are at 1 hour on the dot, 19 seconds.
I got a feel for it.
Do you want to dive into anything else? I mean, obviously
Yes,
you're going to be on Cover
absolutely.
2 tomorrow at 1:20 p.m., but what else do you need to get out?
I've had a troubled week, and I don't know what to do with Jalen Travis. It drives me nuts.
Well, tell everybody who Jalen Travis is, because not everybody's going to know who he is.
He's the left tackle out of Iowa State.
Okay.
Day 3 guy that is like 6'7", 340 pounds. He walked out onto the field at Hancock Whitney Stadium and just looked like a marvel of a man. Just a mountain of a dude. Just real thick-assed, road grading, run blocker kind of dude. Plays tackle. Doesn't really handle speed that well. He does some technical things well, but the tape is better than I think the workout performance will be. I'm curious to see how he tests this weekend, but I don't know what to do with him, Zach, because I don't think you can put him at right tackle because he's going to just struggle with speed. But I think he's too tall to put at guard. I think that defensive linemen, defensive tackles are going to have a leverage advantage on him, and he's going to get driven back, put on a sled at guard too. And I don't know what to do with this guy because when I see 6'7", 340 pounds, he's got some decent tape. Day 3 prospect, I'm like, bro, that's your value right tackle there. Kind of fits the mold physically from what.
Because typically you want your guards to be around 6'4", 6'5".
Yeah, a little shorter. And it's like.
Which, again, we're splitting hairs, but that's just how the NFL weirdly
well,
works.
It's a leverage thing.
What's the last really tall guard that you can think of?
Oh, man, I don't know. I can't think of one off the top of my head. But it's a leverage thing because you get out of your stance and your pad level, the taller guys, naturally your pad level is a lot higher. And so these shorter, more compact defensive tackles, the interior guys, you're not going up against the long, speedy, rangy pass rushers. You're getting these big old, thick, portly defensive tackles that can get up under your shoulders and just drive you back. And
I mean, like Ezra Cleveland, 6'6".
But this dude
Ethan Pochik, 6'6".
This is it doesn't translate a lot.
Okay,
but I'm
well, someone they're bringing up a good one right now. Hold on. Mekhi Becton, who just went to guard for the Eagles.
Well, that was after tackle, though.
Well, that was after tackle, but why not skip to
well,
and he was
enough.
one of the best guards, you know what I'm
fair
saying?
Enough, yeah.
He's 6'7", 364 pounds coming out at the combine. I'm sure
he was a pretty good athlete, though.
Yeah, and we don't know if Jalen Travis is, but I mean, also Mekhi Becton had, he got body shamed all his NFL career.
I can't figure out, is he actually slow or does he just look slow because he's 6'7", 340 pounds going up against, college
What did you think
defenders.
about real quick, Darius Alexander going
I love
crazy.
Darius Alexander.
He was so fast.
He is a freak.
Yeah, but I mean, I look at Jalen Travis. I mean, how did he do at the Senior Bowl in your opinion?
I don't think it was good.
Daniel Falele, 6'8".
Daniel Falele, I don't like him either. Yeah. I'm losing sleep at night because this could be a big value add for the Titans on day 3 of the draft. I even talked to our buddy Drew at Iron City Film on Twitter. I'm like, what do you think of this guy? And he's like, he's a tackle. He's He's like, you can't put him at guard. And
He's too tall?
Yeah, and I'm like, I'm just like, yeah, but I don't know. Like, I think he's going to struggle at tackle. So maybe, is he just not a good prospect? But how do you discount the size? I can't. I'm so sad. I can't get anywhere on this guy.
What do you think you need to get you over the hump? Is athletic testing?
If he goes out this weekend and he tests well, RAS.
Like 7 RAS?
7 to 8 range.
Yeah.
I'll be like, you know what? 4th round, 5th round.
Put him at tackle?
Let's put him at right tackle and see what he can do.
Okay, so what about this? What if we just put it on the 3-cone? Because,
Okay.
the 3-cone is, wait a minute. No, the shuttle, the short shuttle. If he has a really good short shuttle.
It's a good indicator.
Sign him up.
Let's do it. Let's watch that. And then I'll be able to sleep again at night.
What else is keeping you up at night?
Poor general health.
Yeah.
Drinking a lot of beer and coffee this week.
Dan Skipper for the Lions is 6'10"?
No way, for real?
Is that real?
Damn.
That's almost 7 feet. That cannot be real.
That's I thought he was like their jumbo package tight end. I thought he was like their 6th offensive lineman.
He is supposedly he is 6'10". Let's see what the combine says. 6'10".
Damn, that's a big dude.
He was ugly at the combine. I mean, he looks like Dante, military Dante from Clerks.
I've never seen Clerks.
The fuck?
It was made before the year 2000.
You write a movie newsletter and you don't watch
about movies.
To watch Clerks?
About movies that are out today.
Yeah, watch Clerks.
Maybe I will, and then I'll write about it.
There you go.
And everybody's
Maybe
going to get
put it
mad.
on Letterboxd.
Everybody's going to get mad when I trash it. I'm getting grilled for my Animal House score, by the way.
Oh, what'd you put?
It's like I think I gave it a 1 out of 5. It's one of the worst movies I've watched in a long time.
Fuck you.
It sucks so bad.
Yeah.
I cannot believe people think that's funny. Like, grow up. Anyway.
Okay, so this has been Football and Other F words. I'm gonna make you stew in that. I want everybody's last impression of you is trashing one of the greatest American treasures. Because let's just go through this real quick. You hate Animal House.
Yeah.
You hate Gremlins.
Yeah.
You hate Blade.
Yeah.
3 fantastic movies for their times.
Yeah. Never mind, I'm not going to say that.
Mm.
You're already about to climb over this table. And
you haven't seen Kill Bill, supposedly? Is this true?
I just watched it for the first time. We did a podcast on Volume 1 last April, and we just recorded Volume 2 for this April.
Coach Will says, man, I joined the Titans universe, and I found out the movie guy hasn't seen Clerks.
I'll watch it, and I'll write about it.
You're going to fucking hate it. I just know you are, probably. Probably just going to hate it.
Maybe.
You got to get into when you go back and watch these old movies, I feel like you have to remember what would
I try to
that Stony thing,
like put myself in that era, and I did. I was like, oh man, like I bet my dad loved this movie.
Which movie?
Animal House.
Oh yeah, I mean Animal House is great.
Yeah, I mean he had Cheech and Chong VHSs all in the house. Like that's probably his sense of humor.
Ross apparently agrees completely with you, but I don't know on what.
I'll take it, Ross. Thank you.
He completely agrees with you. Jackson, you're what, 22, 23?
I'm 25.
25. Have you seen Clerks?
Have not seen Clerks.
Okay, have you seen Animal House?
Yes, and I like it.
Yeah. I mean, everybody. What about Fletch?
I never saw Fletch.
You haven't seen Fletch? What about you, Jackson?
I think I've seen Fletch. Can you remind me what it's
Chevy
about?
Chase is a undercover news reporter, investigator.
Yeah, I've seen that. I don't think I've seen it all the way through.
There's a couple problematic scenes in there for today's world.
I'm sure Animal House has those too.
Yeah. I haven't seen Animal House in a while.
I saw Vandy Man ask what kind of movies I'm into, and I feel like this is going to make a lot of sense for people.
Porn.
Oh, my God.
Wes Anderson's my favorite filmmaker. So everybody's going to be like, oh, this guy's pretentious, sitting with his legs crossed on the couch, watching his Wes Anderson
with his little
movies.
Titans socks showing.
With my Titans socks showing. Yeah, this hipster with his stupid face.
What about Groundhogs? Now we're just going to have people asking. See, this is why you can't put stuff in the chat.
I bought Groundhog's Day at Danger Zone Video, and I got it, but I haven't watched it yet because I do want to watch that. I haven't watched it since I was really little. I have vague recollections of the movie, but I want to watch it and write about it.
I watched that movie in a class in school.
How about that?
I took a film class my freshman year of school, and I wrote about American Beauty. Probably a little bit more problematic because Kevin Spacey was in it. Yeah. But the reason I chose American Beauty is just so I could write when he's in the shower masturbating, and he puts what? And he
that word was.
What I mean, anyway,
it's the clinical term, I believe.
Yeah, it's clinical. I mean, that's what doctors say.
I haven't seen American Beauty.
Oh, do I want to say he's in there stroking it? Yeah. Look at that dude stroking it.
Yeah.
But I mean, anyway, he talks about that scene where he's talking the inner monologue in his head. I just put that at the top of as like a quote.
It's a good play.
An intro.
Yeah.
I just wanted to do that in film class. A+ though.
Hey, there you go.
There you go. All right. Yeah, Stoney would be a Wes Anderson guy.
Alexander Payne, Robert Eggers really does it for me too, man. The Lighthouse.
I still
got
to watch Nosferatu.
It's
on
good.
Peacock now, even though the same day that Sean, who thinks The Flash is the greatest comic book movie ever created.
Yeah.
The new one, obviously, and with the problematic Flash, of course.
Yeah.
But he shared a Nosferatu code, and the day he shared the Nosferatu code, it was already out on Peacock. So.
Well, he tried. Yeah.
Can the title? No, we cannot call it the title. I can't even read that one on air. Okay.
Team Ramrod, Nebraska rules. I love Nebraska.
Yeah, Nebraska's very good. Okay, we got to get off here. We hit the 1 hour mark, and then we had to talk about Jalen Travis, and we got side railed.
I can't sleep. at night.
I mean, how about the Titans just don't draft Jalen Travis?
Maybe, but he could be the guy too.
Is he this year's Travis Glover?
No,
Except for you knew where Travis Glover played.
I didn't have many reservations about taking Travis Glover.
Yeah. All right.
Jalen Travis, I don't know.
Stoney will be on Friday's Cover 2 with Blaine and I over the phone. Talked about the draft and the combine, 1:20 p.m. Cover 2 is obviously 1 to 3 p.m. Monday through Friday. Central Standard Time on 105 The Zone. Stoney's also got StackInTheInbox.com, Hot Read Podcast, and Sobros Network, and the Movie Dispatch, even though that he has never watched Clerks and hates Animal House, 2 great classics. You can follow him on Twitter at Stoney Keeley. Stoney, you actually just had a tweet go viral. Would you like to explain that tweet?
Can I? Is it acceptable?
I mean,
I'm still getting notifications off of that.
Really?
Yeah.
What was the tweet? I mean, you put up the picture of all the white dudes and the circles, profile pictures with the sunglasses and stuff.
And it just said in quotation marks, "I'd take Jackson Dart over both of them."
Yeah.
I mean, it's a funny meme.
Yeah, it is a funny meme.
It's a funny meme. People got mad at that though.
But you've even Ramon said it. You cemented cookout status.
I did. Did I cement it?
Yeah.
He said on RKW, I was a step closer to it.
Yeah. Well, I
think
that kind of gives
sexy
you.
Red.
I think there's a lot of people in those replies that pretty much presented you with cookout status.
People don't know, man.
Sexy Red or Jackson Dart?
Sexy Red.
Yeah. All right, that'll do it for us. This is Football and Other F Words. And you, wait a minute, what's the grade of the show today?
I'm going to go multiple grades here. Stoney's rating of Animal House is an F. I'm going to give you guys a B+, mainly because we didn't get into this Ian Rappaport, Jordan Schultz piece.
Oh, we didn't. Well, guess what? You brought it up. Let's go.
Yeah.
Ian Rappaport and Jordan Schultz. It was incredible. That's the kind of stuff that I wish broke more often in our show because I love reading that kind of ridiculous stuff to Blaine to get his reaction because it's just so pure. He's like confused, he's mad, he's annoyed, he's laughing. Like it's all these emotions wrapped up into one reaction.
Mm-hmm.
And and then Jordan Schultz corners him. He's got home field advantage and a height advantage, by the way, because Ian Rappaport's a tiny little boy.
He is, yeah.
And
I I could pick Ian Rappaport up and throw him.
Yeah, well, him, Andrew Siciliano is another one that you could do that with. I mean, they are just tiny little creatures.
Mm-hmm.
And
they're not gremlins, they're reporters. Jesus.
Well, I was told that you cannot feed either of them after 10 p.m. And you can't get either of them wet, or they produce other Rappaports.
He is a gremlin.
He is a
gremlin.
But, like, you know, first, I agree with this. Amber 7, I think, brings up the point of the night and of the freaking week. I can't believe none of us have said this. They're in a Starbucks in 2025, a room filled with media members, and nobody got this on tape?
Yeah, that's weak.
Nobody got the audio?
This was deleted by NFL security when Ian ran to them.
Yeah, when Ian went and tattled on everybody and got everybody in trouble.
Oh, man.
But Amber's totally right. Like, nobody in media got this. Were they just all in all? Like, is it watching, like, you know, when Dr. Ellie and Dr. Sadler saw the Brontosaurus for the first time in Jurassic Park? I mean, they didn't have phones. So maybe this is like seeing a Brontosaurus for the first time.
Is that part true that Ian Rappaport went and got security?
That is what is alluded to, I guess,
man.
is that he's a tattletale.
Florio, Ian Rappaport went on Pat McAfee today and essentially said Mike Florio had the whole story.
There you go.
Man, calling security in a media room at a Starbucks or at a Starbucks with media in the room, I'm sorry, but that's kind of, I don't know if I can say this, Jackson. You can mute my mic if you have to. That's some bitch-made stuff right there. Just stand up and swing at him.
Yeah, well, swing up at him.
Swing up.
Or if you're Jordan, you got to swing down at
somebody
him.
Just swing at somebody because this is such an unsatisfying ending.
Well, yeah, we got no closure today on the whole situation.
It just sounds stupid.
It's just children.
Just children. Be a man, swing at somebody in the Starbucks.
There you go.
Real men fight in the Starbucks.
That's right. That's right.
They do. All right, that'll do it for us. Okay, now revised show grade.
A-. Love the prospect breakdowns. The story of Easton Freeze will live on forever.
He's going to be mad about it.
He's totally going to be mad.
No shot. He's not pissed. Just great show all around, boys.
There you go. This is covered, or wait, this is not covered. This has been Football and Other F Words, and you have just been effed.